So I'm here today to tell you about what we are going to show you in each episode. What are the segments that we are going to discuss in each episode. Every episode we have designed in such a way that it's a combination of 5 or more than 5 segments. What are they? Of course, this same order may not be followed, but I would like to tell you the segments. There will be conversation, story narration, then you would also find an inspirational incident from Grace's personality's life, or an anecdote, or a parable, grammar, and a quote for you to think over. Now I shall tell you individually about these segments. So first I had mentioned about conversation. So conversation is supposed to be between two people. They would come and discuss some issue before you. Then when they discuss, note down what are the points that they are discussing. You would have a story narration. A story would be narrated to you, and on the screen you find the scrolling coming up. Follow the scrolling and the narration. Try to learn the new vocabulary which is being used, the grammar, the structures, etc. Then another segment where either we would have inspirational incidents from great personalities' lives, or an anecdote or a parable which would be narrated to you. Once again the same point comes in. Observe the vocabulary that is being used, the structures, the grammar that is being used. And in another segment we would directly discuss grammar for you, because grammar is the backbone of the language. So in the grammar we would give the explanation for the topic. There will be some nice examples, the usage part, and also exercises which either would be in this episode or the next episode. Now sometimes these grammar issues also, they may not be completely discussed in one particular episode. Sometimes they may be carried over to the next episode and so on. And we would also show you one quote, one inspirational quotation. When that quote is shown, think about that quote, cogitate on it, try to understand and imbibe that idea and follow it in your life. So this is how we have made it a mixture of different things put together, and with the main aim, only one aim, that is learning of English. English is a language, and to learn the language you need to expose yourself to many things. So that's how we have designed these episodes, and I hope you will be able to learn the language quickly and easily. That's what each episode of our telecast would be giving you. Okay? So right away we shall get into the episode. Now a grammar item for you. Learn the grammar and speak the language well.
In the previous episode, we were talking about simple sentences. Let's continue where we stopped. In the previous episode, I told you about participles. Let's talk about the other methods of making simple sentences. The next one is this infinitive. Are you aware of the infinitives? What do we mean by infinitives?
It is. It seems like that. If you say it is not clarity,
Not scientifically. As per English grammar.
it means that it is not confirmed.
Okay. Infinitive in the sense combination of 2 plus V1. In English grammar, this combination of 2 and the base form of the verb is called the to infinitive.
What
So
does it mean?
When we combine this to and verb in the first form, this is 2 plus V1. So, alright, in a English sentence, can two verbs come together? Yes, can you say, I want become a government employee? Can you say, I want become a government employee? Then what's the right answer?
I want.
Yes, I want to become. Then to one of the verbs, you have to add this to break this continuity of two verbs. So, I want to become. Yes. So then this is the usage of this to infinitive. I want to become. Where this want is finite and this to become is a non-finite verb. Because if I say we, what happens to wants? What happens to want? We also takes a want. If I say he
He wants.
right. Now when I say he wants, does this change? Can we say he wants to becomes?
No.
No, right. Past tense, she
She wanted.
Now because we are changing this verb into wanted, can we say she wanted to became? So when only these verbs change and this verb doesn't change, it is a non-finite verb and combination of V1. Alright, and we use this combination of 2 plus V1 when we want to talk about purpose, when we want to say why, or when we want to highlight what for. So then to give you any of these meanings, we can make use of this to infinitive. For example, you said we are learning English. Then if I ask you, what's the purpose? Why? What for?
To get a job.
Very nice. So then we can combine and continue the sentence to get a job.
Or to crack exam.
Yes, or to crack the exam. Very nice. Otherwise, if you write two sentences, I am learning English, I need to or I want to get a job, I want to crack the exam. Then you can put them together, make it shorter and simply say, we are learning English
to get a job.
Right. If I people earn money, why? People earn money, why? What
To
for?
spend.
Right?
To
Ah,
enjoy,
right.
to enjoy like
Okay, to enjoy or to meet their needs, that is the purpose. Very nice. We eat, why? To live, because that's the purpose of eating, because body needs energy and unless you eat, we cannot survive. So we eat to get to live or to get energy. So that is this 2 plus infinitive. With the help of it, we can make simple sentences. Now this nominative absolute construction is a noun, alright, which plays the role of a subject, and the verb does not affect it. It is not affected by the verb, it plays the role of a noun also. And number or person, number means singular or plural, person means first person, second person, third person, it is not affected by any number noun or the person noun. So then when we use this nominative absolute construction, the structure becomes something like this: subject, having, and V3, and then the other structure is there, and this being, and after this being we can again make use of a subject, and this is a noun. And here we have no restriction. Here the two sentences can have different subjects also. So this nominative construction gives us the liberty to use different subjects, where we were not able to do in participle. Participle doesn't give us that liberty, but here we can take this and we can make use of double subjects also. For example, the rain stopped, we went for a walk. The rain stopped, we went for a walk. So then the meaning is same. First this action completed, then this action happened. So then how can we say that when we want to make it into one sentence? Now this is the rain and this is we. So what can be the answer?
Being rain stopped. The rain being
See.
stopped, we went.
Always, Raviraj, always remember when you want to say this being, there must be some be form in the sentence so that comfortably, conveniently you can use that. But I have not used any be form here.
Rain having stopped.
The rain had.
For a walk.
We went for a walk.
Nice. So for using this being, you must look for some be form in any of the two sentences. Alright, so as Srinivas says, this is better. The rain, you put one having here. The rain having stopped, alright, and we went for a walk. There were no autos, they had to walk.
They being no artists.
Right. Now see Ravi, there's one be form here. So now when you see a be form, then conveniently you can make the use of this being. So subject will be same, there. So we'll say there being in the place of were, we'll write being. There being no autos, they had to walk.
Then can we say there not being no autos?
Yes.
There not being autos.
We usually, unless there is a verb, we don't say not. When we are not making use of am not, is not, or not. So when we don't have this do, does, did, am, is, are, we don't make use of not. Can you say I have not money? What do we say?
I don't have money.
Yes, I have not money is wrong. Okay, casually we can say I have no money. I have no money. So when the verb is not there, we cannot make use of not. This passive structure can be used anywhere. The evidence was destroyed. The police didn't get any clue. Here again different subjects, evidence and the police. But then this is passive voice. When we see passive voice, then any having plus V3, if you add a been, then it will take care of the passive sentences. So now we can say that.
The evidence having been destroyed, the police didn't get any clue.
Perfect. The evidence having been destroyed, the police didn't get any clue. So then in participles, same subject. In this construction, we can have different subjects also. Next, by using these appositives, we can make two simple sentences into one simple sentence. These appositives are some kind of description. Appositives are a word or a group of words which we use after a noun so that these words can describe the noun. So for the purpose of mixing, for the purpose of description, we make use of this appositives. For example, two simple sentences. The sun is a big ball of fire. It gives us, thank you. It gives us heat and light. So now appositive means first we need to take the subject. So then we say the sun. Now we need to use some words which can describe our subject. So what description is given here about the noun? Right, a big ball of fire. So we can do away with this is, so that we can be left with only one subject, one verb. So then we have to do away with this is and we describe the sun. A big ball of fire. Now we use our finite verb, gives us heat and light. So these set of words, a big ball of fire, are called appositives because they describe the subject. Now the next example is Sachin Tendulkar has many world records and Sachin is the god of Indian cricket. So what's the subject here?
Sachin.
Right, Sachin is our subject. What is being said about Sachin in the sentence?
God of
Yes,
Indian cricket.
description is he is the god of Indian cricket. So again we have to remove this verb and write the description. Sachin Tendulkar, comma, the god of Indian cricket, comma,
Has.
right. Now we add the finite verb to say that has many,
Many
world
world records.
Right. So any set of words which can describe the noun or our subject, then those we call as appositives. The next, let's take this preposition or preposition phrase. Are you aware of prepositions or preposition phrase?
Yes, ma'am.
What are they?
In on
Yes.
those are prepositions.
Very nice.
Preposition phrase are
Right.
combining with verb or after verb or noun will come preposition.
Alright, despite of,
in front
according
of.
to, in front of, very nice. All these are prepositions. So prepositions also come very handy when we want to make simple sentences, because again by using a preposition or a preposition phrase we can combine the sentences and make the length of the sentence much shorter. For example, she teaches in a junior college. She also runs a tutorial. She teaches in a junior college. She also runs a tutorial. Two sentences. With the help of this, conveniently we can make them into one sentence and reduce the number of the words also drastically. So what can we do?
She teaches in a junior college and also
And is conjunction. See, you talked about and is a conjunction. We are looking for a preposition. We are looking for a preposition.
She not only teaches in a
That also is conjunction, not only but also. All these are conjunctions. If you want to say that teaching ka kunda, teaching ke alawa,
besides.
perfect. Besides, because she is doing two jobs. Alright, so better would be to say besides. And here you have to remember, after preposition, either you must use a noun or we have to make use of a gerund. Gerund, do you understand? ING verbs. Gerunds are the ING verbs. So then besides, now we have to use any one of this into a gerund. So besides teaching, so we change this teach into teaching. Perfect. So besides teaching, right, in a junior college, she also runs a tutorial. He was ill last week. He couldn't attend the training. He was ill last week. He couldn't attend the training.
Because
Because is a conjunction also. He couldn't attend the training because he was ill last week. Then you are using two subjects and two finite verbs, but we are looking here for one subject, one verb.
Due to illness,
Very nice. Alright, very nice. Due to his illness, or we can also say owing to. And then after this preposition, a noun. Ill you change into illness. Owing to his illness. Owing to his illness, he couldn't attend the training last week. Is it clear? Have you understood this?
ma'am, what is the difference between gerund and participle? Sometimes we use both V4 forms.
Yes, gerund must be the noun of the subject. Any gerund you should be able to replace it with it. So if that gerund can be replaced with it, it is a gerund. If it is not giving you that meaning, then we cannot use it, then it has to be a participle. And gerund can be a subject by itself. Participle needs another subject also. Now the sixth one, the last one. The last way of making a simple sentence is, here we can take the help of adverbs also. Are you aware of adverbs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what are adverbs?
Adjective plus ly.
Alright, examples are right slowly, quickly. But how do we define adverbs?
Adjective plus ly.
Okay, formation of adjective plus ly. Alright. But what's the definition? Like
Which
noun is a
descriptive verb.
naming. Describes a verb. Very nice. Adjectives describe nouns. But adverbs describe verbs. Very nice. So then we can take the help of these adverbs also. For example, he forgot the keys. He was careless.
He forgot the keys carelessly.
Perfect. He forgot the keys. We can do away with this and this, remove this, and then simply add one ly. So then the point to remember here is, when any of these sentences have one adjective, then very conveniently you can change that adjective into an adverb and then complete the sentence. They will win the match. It is certain. They will win the match. It is certain.
Certainly.
Alright, certainly they will win the match. Alright, or they will certainly win the match, or they will win the match certainly. There are different places where you can make use of these adverbs, and then we can remove one subject and we can also do away with the other finite verb and manage with only one subject, one verb. Alright, so then for simple sentences, you must have some knowledge about prepositions, some knowledge about adverbs also, and then it will help you better. Now sometimes you may come across some noun forms also. The lead actor was absent for the audio launch. It disappointed the fans. So now out of these two sentences, some word you can change it into a noun so that you can complete the sentence and make it one simple sentence.
The absence of the
Yeah,
absence of the leading actor
Perfect.
was disappointed.
No. Right. Yes. So you take this adjective absent, change it into a noun, and when we then we can say the absence of the lead actor for the audio release. Do away with under subject, disappointed the fans. Right. This is also one way of making simple sentences where we can take the help of the noun forms. Alright. So these are the different ways how we can
Ma'am,
make.
if I say like this, being absent for the audio launch, he disappointed the fans.
Being absent for the audio launch, the lead actor disappointed the fans.
Yes.
Because one noun you have to use. Alright. Then two different subjects, then it has to go to nominative absolute construction. Yes, you can say like that also. So when you read a sentence, out of these 5-6 methods, whichever you find convenient and suitable depending upon some rules. They have very simple rules, same subjects or different subjects and completed action or simultaneous action, small things you can take care of, and with the help of those you can make use or you can convert simple sentences. I hope these episodes will have helped you how to convert or how to make different simple sentences into one simple sentence. Thank you for being with us.
Now, listen to two people conversing with each other. They discuss some important issue.
We hope you all are doing well today. Today, we would like to have a conversation on youth and its responsibilities. But first, Varsha, before we move on, I think it's important that we define what youth is. In my opinion, I think youth is that period of time in a person's life when they are most active, most enthusiastic to do work. And in that time of youth, a person is most capable of influencing themselves and influencing the society and the people around them. So essentially, I think youth would be the age between teenage and up to the age of about 30 years.
True. And we are addressing specifically to the youth because the youth contribute the largest to the society. India being one of those countries which has the largest youth population. So we are helping them be more aware as to how responsible they should be and how important they are to this nation. Because the magnitude or the effect that they cause to the society can bring about very positive change that we are all hoping one day it would happen. Now, to say youth should not only be responsible for themselves or for their family, but they should also be responsible for their nation, for their society. Their nation and their society is also their home.
Yeah.
Now, towards their family ante, you have your parents, your elders, your relatives at home. What is being so responsible about it ante? Take care of your family, take care of your elders, respect them, obey them, and always fulfill your duties. We all know how much our elders, how much our parents have struggled to help us achieve what we want to in our life. They have done a lot of hard work, they have sacrificed enough. They may or they may not tell us, but we all know that, we all are aware of that situation. So keeping that in mind, it is essential that we fulfill our duties as a son, as a daughter, as a younger sister, as an elder sister, as a mother in that house, and respect them and always help them and always obey and not disobey or not disrespect them. Parents e kada ani anukodam kaadu. Always treat them with the respect that they always deserve.
That's true.
Towards themselves ekkadostundi ante, you should be aware of what you are doing. You should act consciously. You are the own creator of your experience. Once you have taken a decision to do something, you are making it happen. And whatever the end result is, you will only have to bear the consequences of it. There will be nobody else to blame at that point. So you should be responsible enough to tell that yes, I have taken this decision, yes, it was my choice, and if the end result is good, I am happy with it. If it is not good, then I will learn from my mistakes and I will move forward. Awareness undali. You should be aware of all of this. You can't just take a decision and say, no, it is not, I didn't like the end result, I won't be a part of it anymore. Atla ante that won't work out. You should be conscious enough, you should be aware enough.
So you're saying that a person should own up to their mistakes regardless of whatever work they are doing.
Exactly. If it is a positive outcome, well and good. If it is a mistake, okay, it is just a mistake. Learn, get aware, learn more about it, study, and then don't repeat that mistake always. And it is the responsibility of the youth towards their nation, towards their society. We always think that our responsibility is nenu na family. If we are good and if their family is good, then all of us will be good together. Atla kaadu, everybody is your family. The society is your family.
That's true.
You take care of everybody, you take care of the society, you end up taking care of your nation. You end up making it help, you end up helping towards the betterment of the society,
That's
directly
true.
or indirectly.
That's true.
They should be responsible enough to obey the laws that are being set up by the government every time. We always see that so many youngsters are disobeying one or the other kind of law, thinking that it is okay, it is overlooked. But that is not the case. You should be aware of it. Those laws and rules are made for you, for us. Why? So that we work in discipline, we work in cohesiveness.
That's true.
We should also be responsible enough to choose our leaders wisely, and this is the most important responsibility of a youth as far as I can see, because a leader will take your society and will lead your nation towards its glory, towards its betterment, towards a good progress that we all want, that we all expect. Every time when the elections are here, we always can see a number of complaints.
Yeah.
The education system is not good, the surroundings are not clean, the infrastructure is not so developed. Then what does it happen, what does happen at that time? All your political leaders would come forward and tell, no, we will improve it, we will improve the infrastructure, we will make the IT department much more elaborate, we will make more job opportunities are given to
we
you.
will also give healthcare to the poor, all
Healthcare,
sorts of
everything,
promises.
and available at a very minimal cost. ఏమవుతుంది అంటే without knowing as to what exactly that leader is capable of doing, without knowing whether he or she will fulfill their promise or not, అది ఏం ఆలోచించకుండా, just because everybody is voting for him, just because everybody is going ahead, we also end up voting for the same person.
Actually,
After the results come out, that is when we realize the true color.
yeah, when you say that everyone is voting for that person, so I will also vote.
True.
That reminds me of the herd mentality.
Oh yes.
Herd mentality ante you do whatever the people around you are doing. Everybody, all of your friends are voting for a particular leader, you vote for that leader.
Ante.
All of your friends are doing a particular task, you also do that task. Aloచింchakunda.
Exactly.
Now, you said that such a huge population of India is in their youth.
True.
So there is a very good chance for people to engage in that herd mentality. But I think
Exactly.
people should be conscious, especially the youth. They should be conscious that they should not always do what the people around them are doing.
Exactly.
Like you said, they should be conscious of their decisions, of their thoughts. ఆలోచించి చేయాల్సింది ఏది చేసినా.
Exactly. You should be bold enough to take that step independently. If you are aware that what you are doing is correct and it is for the betterment of the society, then be bold to take that step. If you are responsible enough, you are conscious enough, everybody will follow that correctness only slowly.
That's
They will
true.
be able to realize.
That's true.
And you should also, you know, what I think I want to add another point over here is be the change than expecting one to happen. We all think that no, this is not, I want a change in the education system, I want a change wherein I want the surroundings to be clean. అసలు ఈ సిస్టమ్ ఏ సరిగ్గా లేదండి, ఏమైనా అన్నా they blame it on the system, on the management. This is not correctly placed, this is not correctly written. You want a change, you be the change first.
Exactly.
You want to change something in the society, you start the change within yourself. And the best example for this I can give is the Swachh Bharat movement that has started. That is the best example I can give. You want your nation, your society, your home to be clean, keep yourself clean, your home clean, your society clean. The entire nation will become clean.
Exactly.
Instead of expecting that somebody else would do and I would sit quiet and listen. వాళ్ళు చేస్తారు కదా, అందరూ చేసినప్పుడు నేను చేద్దాంలే అని అనుకోవటం కన్నా, be the change that you want to see in the nation.
Exactly. When you say these words, I am reminded of a song, Varsha. I'm sure all of us have heard of Michael Jackson at some point of time.
Everybody have
Michael
heard about
Jackson
it.
is
We all
a
have
very
heard about him.
Exactly. Michael Jackson is a very popular musician, a dancer from who lived in the US, in America. Sadly, he's no longer with us. He's passed away quite a few years ago. But there is a very popular song that was written by Michael Jackson, and the song's name is The Man in the Mirror.
Okay.
And when you say these things like be the change that you want to see, I'm reminded of the lyrics of the words in the chorus of that song. You know, Michael Jackson says, I will start with the man in the mirror and I will ask him to change his ways. What does that mean?
So you're asking yourself to change
Exactly.
because you see yourself in the
Exactly.
mirror.
When you look in the mirror, you see your own reflection.
Correct.
And you should ask yourself to start that change by first changing yourself.
Exactly.
And the last words that he says are very nice. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change.
Exactly true. That is how you change, because the youth are the most powerful part. They have the capacity to change the landscape, the socio-economic landscape of this country. That is exactly why we thought of this conversation would be more helpful, to know that they are the most important part of this nation.
Exactly. So I think we've discussed some good points, and I think we should thank all our viewers for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Well, now listen to a story. Try to observe the vocabulary and the grammar in it.
Stories are good to read and good to be narrated too. Today I take the pleasure of narrating the story God in Everything. We usually say that God is everywhere, and God is there in you, God is there in the opposite person, God is in an animal, everywhere. And our elders taught us you need to find God in everywhere. So the story is God in Everything. Where is God? Asked the disciple. Everywhere, in everyone and everything, said his Guru. So let's imagine this is a Gurukula where the Guru was teaching the disciples the stories. In olden days, Gurus used to teach the disciples morals and life lessons through stories. Such is the situation here. Later, as the disciple was going home, he saw an elephant charging towards him. The elephant came running towards him. "Get out of the way! Get out of the way!" shouted the mahout. Mahout is an elephant driver. "He has gone mad." So the elephant went mad. But the disciple thought, God is everywhere. He is in the elephant and he is in me. Would God attack God? No. Therefore, the elephant will not attack me. This is what the disciple thought. He stood where he was. The elephant picked him up by his trunk and flung him aside. Flung is threw him aside. Fortunately, he landed in a haystack and was not too badly hurt. A haystack is the bundle of dry grass which is kept for the cattle. But he was terribly shaken and confused. He got afraid of this attack. When the Guru and the other disciples came to help him and take him home, he said, "You said God is in everything, but see what the elephant did to me." "It is true that God is in everything," said the Guru. "He is in the elephant, but he is also in the mahout, who kept telling you to get out of the way. Why didn't you listen to him?" This is what happened in real life too. When the elders try to tell you something or suggest you something, either you pay a deaf ear to them or you just listen to half days. That we call as just you hear their speech, you don't listen to them. If you listen to them, you can understand what they want to suggest you.
It's a parable that now you're going to listen to. Observe the words, the structures, etc.
Hello everyone and welcome to another segment of English for All. Now as you all know, this is story time. Now we will get to hear some interesting parables. Parables are nothing but moral stories, and after listening to these we will get to know what the moral of that story is and how best we can use it. I'm sure Mansi has some interesting stories with her.
I do. This particular story is about bravery. Once upon a time there was a little boy named Shyam. Now Shyam was a young kid, small boy, and whenever he went to school he would always be bullied. Bullied means some boys would tease him, play around with him in a mean way. They would
Try to dominate
him. So he would always be bullied. Whenever he went to school, there would be a group of boys who were bullying him. He did not know how to stand up against them. So after coming back home, he would cry. One day there was a wizard. A wizard is a magician. So there was a magic old man who was observing this. So he came to Shyam and said, Shyam, you are facing a lot of bullying. I will give you one small bit of help. And that old magic man, he gave Shyam a belt which had a lion's tail on it. And he told Shyam, wear this belt. Next time you are being bullied, I want you to be brave. And the next time you show that bravery, the belt will turn you into a lion.
Oh.
Is what he told Shyam. Now Shyam was quite enthused when he heard this and he felt confident now. So he wore the belt and went to school the next day. And again, as usual, that group of boys came to start bullying him. And when he saw them, even though he had that belt with him, he got scared. He was like, oh no, they're coming. And then he got cornered. They were starting to bully him. But then he thought, okay, let me try to, be brave. So what he did, he plucked up all the courage that he had in him and he tried to stand up to the boys. The boys slowly started stepping away and they started looking very scared as they looked at Shyam. So Shyam thought, okay, I am turning into a lion because I am trying to be brave. But eventually, after the boys went away, Shyam looked down at his hands and he still saw he had 2 hands and 2 legs. He thought, why don't I have legs and paws like a lion? So he understood the plan did not work. He did not turn into a lion even though he tried to be brave. So after coming back home, the old wise magic man was still observing all of this. And he told Shyam, what happened at school? And Shyam said, your belt did not work. It didn't turn me into a lion. I was brave, but it did not turn me into a lion. And then the old man said, it will not work. The reason being, at that point of time, Shyam was only trying to be brave. He was not being courageous. Now, this is the story. There is a very fine line between being brave, being courageous. Now, from the story, the old man was trying to teach all of us this. Being courageous does not mean acting brave, but it means to be fearless. అంటే కరేజియస్గా ఉండడం అంటే మనకి భయం లేదు అని నటించడం కాదు, బయట నుంచి నటించడం కాదు, మనకి లోపల నుంచి ఎటువంటి భయం ఉండకూడదు. So it is not about portraying or trying to show that you are brave like how Shyam did.
You must actually be fearless from within.
Exactly. You should be fearless from within. మనకి లోపల నుంచి కూడా భయం
ఉండకూడదు. ధైర్యం రావాలి లోపల నుంచి.
ధైర్యం లోపల నుంచి ధైర్యం ఉండాలి. బయట మాత్రం నటించడం కాదు. That is being courageous. If Shyam had actually been fearless from within, he may have turned into a lion. But at that moment, he was still scared. He was only trying to act as though he was brave. And that did not help him. So the same way, each and every one of us will definitely face situations where we get scared. Each of us have our own fears. Some people are scared of heights, some people are scared of failure, some people are scared of losing friends.
And just like Sham, some people also are afraid of getting bullied.
Exactly.
At school, at college, at different places, we have people who want to exercise power over us, who wants to dominate us. We may not be in a position to face them, but like you said, we must have that fearlessness from within. We must have that from within. ఆ ధైర్యం అనేది లోపల నుంచి ఉండాలి మనకి. అప్పుడు బయటికి కూడా కనిపిస్తుంది ఆటోమేటికలీ.
Exactly. And also, if you are fearless from within, లోపల నుంచి మనకి ధైర్యం ఉంటే మన బిహేవియర్లో you will find confidence. But if you are trying to act brave, అంటే బయట నుంచి మనకి భయం లేదు అని నటించేటప్పుడు if you try to be like that, ఆ కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ కనిపించదు. Only for a moment you will seem like you are okay, and then suddenly you will go back to becoming scared and timid. So that lopala nunchi, if you have the fearlessness, the bravery and that dhairyam from within, not only will you be able to be courageous, you will also be confident and you will be unstoppable in anything that you do.
Wow, that was a very, very well said moral story, Mansi. And that has a very important essence, and I think we must all keep that in mind. We must have that fearlessness from within to face any such sort of situation, so that we will be adi lopal nunchi dhairyam unte automatically bayata kuda kanipistundi, and we can move ahead with confidence and that positivity.
So if we ever have to make ourselves courageous, there is no worth in trying to do it from outside. From inside you make yourself brave. All the other work is taken care of.
That was very, very well put, Mansi, and I'm sure you all also enjoyed that story, and hopefully you've underlined the moral and the essence, and you will put to good use of it. Thank you all for listening.